Hey everyone, before we get started with today's video, if you forgot to use a referral code when you signed up for Uber to get your bonus or guarantee of up to $1,000, then here's how to apply my referral code so you can still get some extra money. Here's the steps. So 1, open the Uber app. Next, click your photo or the 3 lines at the top corner. Click earnings. Click help or question mark. Click account and payment. Then referrals. And this step is really important. Click invited driver, report my missing or incorrect driver referral. And then click send a message. And for the invite code, use G4QA5UE. Friend's name, yours truly, Gregory Wave. GREGORYWAVE, like wave. The phone number is 815-847-0184. And the email is gregwave@yahoo.com. And for the details, you can just say something like, my good friend Gregory referred me to drive for Uber. What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Rideshare Hub. My name is Greg. Quick update, just to make sense to why I'm in a red Kia Soul. There's some stuff going on with my car. I posted a video about that. You should see it soon, and it's just an explanation so I don't have to explain in every video why I'm in a red Kia Soul with a car seat. But what I'm going to be doing for you guys today is there's been some newer scams arising from the gig industry. None of these have affected me yet, but I've been seeing a lot of people that have been getting really hosed by some of this. And sometimes I have to almost tip my hat because I'm like, all right, you people are clever. But why do we do this? Well, we do this so that you guys have awareness. We do this so that you guys don't get sucked into some of these. Prevention is the best disease killer. So having preventative methods of dealing with these things is going to help a lot. I've experienced like 2 of these actually. Yes, 2, now that I'm looking. I've experienced 2 of these that led to me getting deactivated. Both times they weren't my fault. So let's jump right into it. So the biggest scam, and this really isn't a scam, I'm just going to tell you guys don't do this, is people trying to get more people in your car than will fit. So if they're bringing more than 4 people, unless you're an XL driver. The reason why I don't ever do this is because what is it telling me from the get-go? Well, if they're that freaking cheap, I'm probably not getting tipped. If they're not going to pay $5 to $10 more to ride legally in an SUV or an XL, then they're probably not going to tip me, you know? So you're doing them a favor for what? So that they tell you you're an all-star driver in the Uber compliments? Who cares? Who cares? So I wouldn't call that a scam. Some people do, but I would say the main thing is just don't do that. I did it a few times when I first started, and it's like, it's always uncomfortable, and then I'm driving and I'm constantly paranoid I'm going to get pulled over. And guess what? Do you think they're getting the tickets? No, they might be nice and try and defend you and say, hey, sir, we told him to do it. He's going to be like, whatever, you were driving the car, here's your ticket, you know? So I just think it's a really stupid thing. I feel like it's high risk, low reward, and no reason to do it. But next biggest thing is cash rides. Cash rides have screwed a lot of people over, and I've been seeing these stories more and more as the rideshare economy with Uber and Lyft has gotten busier and busier and more competitive with other drivers. I think a lot of people like getting that guarantee. And so some guy walks up to him and he's like, hey, I got $50, you know, can you take me from here to here? We're like, you know what? We'll take that. We'll take that guarantee. Let's do it. You know, get right in, my man. What do you need? How often or not do you think these drivers are getting that $50? So from the stories I've heard, a random stoplight where they're not expecting it, all of a sudden the dude unlocks the door, bolts, you got no money. You got to think, you might have driven the dude 25 minutes and then they take off. Now you're in a boonies area and you got to drive 25 minutes back into town, hypothetically. So you've just blown an hour and you didn't make a dime. You lost money because you drove an hour of gas. So it's, again, it's I mean, maybe it's high reward, high risk, because maybe hypothetically there is some idiot who will give you $200 or something for some crappy ride. But more often than not, like, everybody's thinking they can hustle an Uber driver. So don't do it. This one, man, this was one of the most shocking to me. I honestly can't believe this never happened to me, but apparently there's been this big trend going around where people would, like in my sake, I was always using Apple CarPlay, and I would use it for navigation and for music. Didn't have an aux cord, so if somebody came in, they wanted to change the song, I'd be like, oh yeah, just change it on my phone. I'm way too trusting of people. That's like one of my biggest flaws. And that's why I said, like, I'm stunned this never happened to me. But then what people were doing is they were going on the driver's Venmo or their account and either cashing out or sending themselves money from one of the accounts. Now, I have thumbprint on all my Venmo, Cash App, PayPals, so they couldn't have done it to me, but a lot of people don't. And so then they would get in there, and all of a sudden they're missing $200-$300, and some passenger just freaking conned the crap out of you. So how do you avoid this? Have an aux cord, for one. Don't give people any reason to ever need to see your phone. And just simply tell them no. Like, if it's that shady, I've been seeing a ton of reports of it on forums. So, so basically they take your phone and, they could steal your credit card information. They could email something from your phone to them that's personal. There's a lot of things people can do if they're good. Now, odds are you're not going to pick up a lot of good people like that are that gifted at something like that. It's probably a bunch of idiot high schoolers more than anything, but still be on the lookout for it. This was another one. This one hadn't happened to me, but apparently a lot of drivers were getting scammed by people would call in real professionally, pretending to be an Uber or Lyft employee, and then they would ask you for the details of your account to verify your identity. To preface, Uber and Lyft will never do that. They will never call you asking for your account info to verify your identity. It's a scam. So then what they were doing is they're getting on these drivers' accounts and either cashing out the funds to one of their own cards, or God only knows what else they were doing with that information. But that being said, don't ever give out your information on the internet, over the phone, to Uber. I mean, I guess technically on the app is on the internet. But basically, they're not going to call you or email you demanding you send them your password and account name. Please don't fall for that. Like, come on now. But next one, I believe this is fixed for the most part, but have any of you experienced the canceling mid-ride thing? I've had this happen a few times. One time, these people were dummies about it, and it was a really short ride. It was a stop and a go back home. It was a gas station a mile away, and I probably would have made $3.50 on it, and they canceled. It was on Lyft, and so I got a $5 cancellation fee. And I saw it happen in the middle of the ride, but I didn't say anything because I started adding two and two together. But I was like, I'm making more money off this. I'm gonna keep it. So I just let them take that cancellation fee. But I had another time, and this is why I was saying I think it's fixed. I was taking this grandpa and his son to see their mom in the hospital. I guess she was in the ER for some reason. And she ordered the Uber for them, so I pull up and I made sure that they were, going to see her, because she had texted me and said this and this, and they're gonna go here. So what happens is, I'm not even kidding, 10 different times during the ride, probably a 25-minute ride, and about 10 different times, I would get that ping from Lyft that the ride had been canceled. But then the ride would still be up. And it was canceling. And finally I asked the kid, I was like, hey, are you guys trying to cancel the ride? He's like, no. He's like, it's on my mom's phone. I was like, do you think she's trying to cancel the ride for some reason? He was like, I have no idea. And I was like, yeah, because I was like, I keep getting these cancel requests for this ride. And then the grandpa's flipping out in the back about technology and how evil it is, blah, blah, blah. So then I heard, he called his mom and he's like, Mom, why are you trying to keep canceling the ride? And I just heard, like, I didn't hear anything, but I could tell she was talking to him. And then he said, oh, okay. And then he hung up and he gave me no explanation. Then I dropped him off and they were like, hey, thank you, sir, blah, blah, blah. So I think she was trying to cancel the ride midway to save money. That was just my guess. It didn't work, so I'm hoping that means Lyft patched that. But I don't know. It's something I see a lot of drivers talking about. It's a very frustrating issue. But I really think we're good on that one. So another really big one is people will ask you to go to a different location. They'll say, hey, can you drive here? And then what they hope is that you won't change the location, or they'll say, oh, and don't worry about changing it. I can navigate you. So you're thinking, oh, great. I don't have to go into my app and type in a new location. So what they do is they have you drop them off at a different spot. Now, that was the spot they intended for the whole time. But when they ordered the ride, they put in a different spot on purpose. And the reason they did that is so then when Uber and Lyft look at the feedback of the ride, it looks like you dropped them off at the wrong place. So then they leave a report and they say, yeah, this crazy friggin' Uber driver, he dropped me off 30 minutes away from where I wanted to go. I have no idea why he did that. And if you don't have a dash cam, you're not able to prove that what happened. Whose word do you think they're going to take? Hopefully yours, but more than likely not. So how do you avoid that? Well, the easiest way is always put it in the navigation and be like, hey, I'll take your directions. If you don't mind, I'm going to change it in the app though real quick. Or put it on them. Be like, hey, since I'm driving, can you put it in? I prefer to have the navigation up. I'll still listen to you. And if they argue with you, then they're already starting to look shady, So the next thing is, I've heard of this a lot. This is a newer one too. I guess a lot of people have been using fake $100 bills. And they've been getting drivers to cancel really long distance rides. Be like, hey, I'm trying to go, 2 hours away. Can I just give you 100 cash instead? And then we don't pay the 20% fee to Uber and Lyft. And that's a lot more tempting than someone who walks up to your car and says it. But what they do is they request the long distance ride, show up with counterfeit bills, and then they pay you in those bills once you get there. And now you got counterfeit bills. The last one, and this is probably the most frustrating, and you should be able to catch someone do this, but apparently a lot of passengers will fake throw up or fake a smell. I've heard one story where a guy poured some Jack Daniels on the floor and then claimed that the car reeked of alcohol. And then he wanted his money refunded. People have done it with the weed smell. People have intentionally thrown trash on the ground and said, hey, this dude's car was trashed. It was messy, it was nasty. And it's basically false reports of something about the car that hopefully you can prove. In my time with Uber and Lyft, I've learned that if you complain enough, eventually they'll at least refund you. So if something happens with a ride like that, my best advice is honestly to just complain and complain and complain until they do something for you. So that's pretty much what I got for you guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. Be sure, as always, thumbs up, subscribe. Got a lot more content coming for you guys, and I will talk to you all soon.